Hello there and welcome back to Spilling the Paint Water. My name is Chloe Rose, but I go by Chloe Rose Art on YouTube, or you can also find me as Art of Chloe Rose on Instagram and Twitter. So if you do enjoy this content and this podcast, please feel free to check out my channel, my Instagram, my Twitter, and subscribe for more artsy content. Now today I'm joined with my lovely friend Rae, who goes by Super Rae Dizzle on YouTube, or if you want to find her on other social media, just look up Rae_Dizzle_ and you will find her there. Now Rae is an incredibly talented YouTuber artist with over 1.5 million subscribers and a huge passion for content creation, testing art supplies, art conspiracies, and so much more. It's been so wonderful to watch Rae's audience grow over the last few years and her confidence alongside that. It shines through in every single video that she uploads, as she's such a hard worker and someone that's always there for a good pep talk whenever YouTube gets us down. We've been friends now for around 4 years and I'm just really excited to speak with her today, so I hope that you enjoy the episode. So, I am here today with my wonderful friend Rae. How you doing, Rae?
Hey, it's good to be here. Hi, I'm doing good. How are you doing, Chloe?
I am doing. How have you been this year?
I've been doing okay. Yeah. It's been like, I'm sure for everybody, you know, just constant ups and downs and spending a lot of time at home, which, I mean, it has its good parts and its bad parts. Like last year I spent a lot of time traveling away from home, but now that I'm here, I kind of like miss the traveling, you know. I miss going out, miss even just like going out and people watching with my friends, or like eating out at a restaurant, or going to Starbucks and like typing on my computer. I miss like the very basic things, but you know, I feel like we're lucky enough to have our job to be able to stay at home. And, you know, I think it's good that we're able to help out the people who are putting themselves out there, like the medical workers and whatnot. So honestly, like, even though it kind of sucks, it actually doesn't suck. It's pretty awesome, I feel.
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons. It's like, I'm like yourself, I'm introverted. I like being at home. I just miss the option of going and doing things, and it's just so extreme as well. I'm not even like going out for food shopping, and I'm kind of going like, I'm getting to a point.
Yeah, going stir crazy.
Yeah, we like saw each other just before like lockdown. It was end of February, right? Played us live, and it was such a fun time, and then everything just went downhill from there. It's horrible.
Yeah, I agree, and it was kind of funny. Well, not funny, but it was kind of ironic because right whenever we went to Playlist Live, my mom had sent me a text and said, well, you should be worried because of that virus that's going around, you know. And I said, oh, Mom, don't worry about that. There's only like 5 people. Like nothing's gonna happen. And then, yeah, as soon as I got back, haven't left the house since.
It's been rough. So it's nice to be able to talk to you for the first time since then.
I know, same. I'm like human interaction. I feel like whenever I go to the grocery stores now, I'm like, because I always wear my mask, you know, so I feel like I don't need to smile at anybody anymore or like make human eye contact. So I'm just kind of like, boop, boop, boop. I feel like completely forgot how to talk to people.
I can be ignorant. Woohoo!
Or if I want to scowl at somebody, I'm like, you know, they won't tell because I have like half my face covered.
Exactly. It's really nice. And, you know, like you say, we're so fortunate to at least have our jobs and like be the entertainment side of things. We're very lucky because even like the entertainment industry with movies and stuff, they can't even work with that stuff. So, you know, we're very lucky in many ways, but you know, it's been tough, but
we're holding on. We're doing our best. Yeah. The other day I was at the grocery store and this lady literally pulled down her mask at the cash register, pulled it down, sneezed, and then put it back. And I was like, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to cause like a scene, but I was like, lady, what is wrong with you?
That is awful. We saw someone the other day because every week we just go for a drive around. We don't get out of the car. We just drive around. There was a guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There was a guy. He was sat down, sleeping, with his mask over his eyes.
Multitasking.
For everyone watching and listening, if for some reason you don't know of Rae and I have known each other for, is it like 3 years now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you were like one of my first art friends, and it was just so nice I remember you reached out to me on Instagram, and I can't remember what the message said now, but it was such a long time ago, and we just kind of hit it off right away. And
yeah, it was I had stayed up all night. That's the story of how I met you. Is I stayed up all night long, and I was kind of like worried because I was like, man, I don't know anybody else in the art community. I'm not talking to anybody else. And there was this one weirdo named Zabio Arts who was a he and I are really good friends, by the way. But anyway, besides him, I wasn't really like, he had just commented on like my stuff, but I hadn't really been friends with anybody, so I had stayed up all night worrying. I was like, man, I don't know. So I just was like, because I was nervous to reach out. So I was like, you and Robin, at the time it was Clark, or Clance, I think at the time. But now it's Robin Sealark for anybody who's listening. And so yeah, I sent the message. I was all nervous, like, hi, Chloe, Rose, Art, my name is Ray, all awkward and weird. And yeah, lo and behold, you started messaging me. We have like such similar personalities. We clicked right off the bat, and ever since then, we've been really close.
It's been awesome. We've seen, how many times have we seen each other now? It's got to be like at least 5, right? Playlist.
Yeah, I think so. Which is really good for.
Yeah, right. It's been so many times. It's great.
Oh man, I was so nervous the first time I met you because I was like, oh man, I hope, because I'm a fan, so I was like, oh, I hope she likes me, here she is, Chloe Rose.
I was so excited too and nervous because, you're like, oh my gosh, she's such a big YouTuber, oh my gosh, this is just that excitement, and then seeing you at the airport, and it was just like so exciting.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but I do want to apologize. Sorry, I do want to apologize for in advance to anybody who's listening. If we seem to be talking over each other, it's because we're very excited to be talking to each other.
Yeah, we've not talked to each other like this for like 6 months or 7 months. 7 months. Wait, 7 months? Is it something like that?
I think so.
7 months.
February, right, or January?
Yep, it's been a long time. But yeah, we're excited, and also there is a very, very slight delay as well. So that always we're not talking over each other.
Oh, okay.
It always makes me laugh whenever we're on Twitter or something. We make jokes at each other, and people are like, have they fallen out? Are they still friends? What's going on?
And we're like, the drama. Are you Team Ray or Team Chloe?
It's like, no, this is our humor. We get it.
No, we're really lucky to be in the art community because everybody's so nice and kind, and generally everybody gets along, I feel. I feel like we have one of the best communities on YouTube.
Absolutely, yeah. We all, I don't know, it's just such a nice community. I think it's just, in general, it's always been very drama-free, It's always been just a nice place to be, and everyone's always very welcoming. Everyone, I feel, is very encouraging to other people, and I think it's because we are artists, or creatives, DIYers, we all know the time and effort that goes into making that kind of content. It's just hours and hours and hours outside of the video to learn to do this stuff, I mean, same as like makeup gurus, I guess, learning about makeup and stuff, but it can be very lonely because you do spend so many hours just learning, you spend so many hours doing it, and it's just nice when you find that community, because I myself didn't really have, I think I knew Miranda, and I think Momo, I knew her. But other than those two, I think you were like one of the very, very first that I knew. And it was from there that we really started having that like little group community of people. And from there, we got to know more people. But, I don't want this podcast to be me talking all the time.
Oh, no, I was about to ask. So growing up, you didn't have any friends who were also interested in the art or anything like that?
No, I mean, I went to school till I was about 9 years old. We moved to the US. And essentially, I went from being like the top of my class in the UK to then the bottom of the class when I moved over here, because everything was taught differently. I was with kids like a year or two older than me, and I just kind of lost my kind of excitement for school and anything that I enjoyed about it. I just lost all interest. So I like begged my mum to homeschool me. So with that came so many amazing opportunities, but obviously you're not in, around other kids your age to know people. And I also moved quite a bit, so I didn't have any like local friends. I had my best friend who lives states away. I've never lived anywhere near her, but I always had her online. I've always had like online friends, but never close proximity. The only friend I really did have was when I went to school initially, and she actually went to art school when she was a little bit older. Yeah, but when I knew her, she actually wasn't really into art at all. And I myself wasn't really serious about it either, but I was just always like craftsy. But yeah, never really had that until YouTube. It was the first time in my life that I was like, wow, I found a community of people and friends. It's the first time in my life I've got like a genuine, lovely group of like girlfriends, like just they're supportive, and just, the community of YouTube is just amazing and fun community.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I went to school for art. And I don't know, I I don't know, I guess I was like a lot more shy than what I currently am, and I'm still shy, like, don't get me wrong. Might even be a little shy right now, but a lot of the people in my college, I wish that's like my one regret, is I wish I would have spent more time getting to know them. But I was so busy working all the time and with my other friends, So yeah, I have to agree, like, even though I did have a few art friends, it wasn't until I also got on the internet and I started meeting other people, So even though I had a few, it's nice to have like a whole giant plethora now,
It is so nice. I love the community of YouTube. Like, it's something that I really just, I don't know, I just really enjoy that side of it. Yeah, it's wonderful. And, you meet so many people, like Hannah, my friend Hannah. I met her because she commented on one of my videos. I think she had like less than 100 subscribers at the time. She was just starting her channel, and, now we're very good friends.
And I met Hannah through you, so it's like...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just this domino effect of meeting people, and I think that's something that is, one of... There's many negatives to YouTube, but one of the biggest, like, positives is the fact that you can meet so many wonderful people through it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And plus, it's cool because since we are all artists, we all have like a general sense of creativity to us. So we're all just like constantly building off each other, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And a lot of people say that like online friendships aren't like real friendships. But honestly, I feel in a way that having friendships that start online, you actually find friends that you become closer with, because you start off by not having any expectations. You just randomly meet, and then you find out you have common ground, common interests, and then you're choosing to have a friendship with that person. You can't go and do things with them. You have a common interest, and then you get to know them really well because it's just all online. So then when you meet, it's even better. So with you, I was so glad that I knew you so well before we even physically met last year,
Yeah, definitely. I agree 100%. And like I said earlier, we had such similar personalities. It was like, both weirdos.
Yep.
Oh man, for the people who don't know, whenever Chloe and I get together, we're like screaming off the top of our heads, going crazy, laughing hysterically. It's something. So yeah, this podcast that you're listening to right now, this is like the toned down version of it all.
Oh yeah, we're playing it down. We always have crazy stuff happen to us every time we meet as well.
Oh my god, I know.
Weird stuff that we just like, poignant moments.
Like stuff that never happens, because when I'm by myself, nothing weird ever happens, and I feel like probably the same for you. When you're alone, nothing weird ever happens, but something about the universe, when we get together, just like the strangest things happen. And I don't know if I'm sure throughout this podcast we'll talk about some of the weird stories, something about us together.
Later on in the podcast, feel free to listen in for Churro Man.
Oh my gosh, yes, we have so many stories. Definitely
we'll tell those later because they're really fun. But something I really wanted to talk to you about was, we are so similar and we do similar things now, but we both come from very different backgrounds with, where we came from in regards to obviously where we grew up, but also in regards to just where we learned about art or how we learned about art, and I'd really love to like pick your brain a little bit about, because
definitely,
you went to like art school, but it wasn't art school. You said it was to learn about galleries, was it?
So basically, I had always had interest in art. When I was little, some of the best memories that I've ever had were going with my dad after school to the local museums that we had. And just when I remember from a young age, just being like amazed by like grand paintings in realism and oil paintings, and just like I remember like every time my dad, because he unfortunately had gotten laid off for a time, but it was a blessing in disguise, because every day he was able to pick me up and he'd be like, hey, do you want to go to the park? Do you want to go home? What do you want to do? Try to keep me active while, whatever. But yeah, so I'd always say, Dad, let's go to the museum. Let's go to the museums. And luckily enough for my museum, they would always switch out the shows that they had. And so, yeah, every time we would go and spend hours and hours and hours until they closed. And so, yeah, I've always had a huge interest in art. My parents always supported me being involved with the arts. They always, from a young age. I mean, obviously, they couldn't we didn't grow up with the most money around, but they did their best, and they were always like giving me like art supplies and encouraging me, and just doing what they can, and probably to keep me out of their hair, honestly. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so from a young age, always was interested in artwork. Now, growing up as a teenager, I wouldn't say I took art seriously. In my friend group, I definitely was not known as the artist for a while. But something about when I was 16 and I was starting to come of age, that's when I really was like, well, I'm going to have to get a real job soon. But yeah, that's when I first started getting that idea of, well, maybe I could do something, a career involving this. So I started taking it more seriously. I enrolled, literally, throughout middle school, I never took any art classes or anything. But my junior year of high school, I was like, I'm going to take an art class, screw it. I want to. Yeah. And I started taking it seriously, drawing compulsively, just drawing all the time. And I would say in a very short amount of time, I was known as like the drawing girl. I was always drawing, always. I was one of those kids that instead of like doing the math homework and paying attention, I would just be drawing on the worksheet, And yeah, just from there, I started getting better and better and like practicing and like determined, and so yeah, my school wasn't the most rich, I guess you can say, so we had to make do with what we had. And from there, I learned a lot of what I do now on my channel, which is like cheap art hacks, kind of things like make do with what you have. And yeah, so from there, I decided, once I graduated high school, I came to like a really hard decision. It was either go into like business or something serious like accounting. Can you imagine me as an accountant? First of all, no way. And so I did actually. Whenever I rolled into, I actually went to community college first to get my basics down. And yeah, I did 1 year of business school and it was awful. I hated it with every fiber of my soul. And because I wanted to play it safe, because I was like, man, like if I get this degree in art, I don't know if I'll be able to make a career out of it. I don't know if I'll be able to do anything with it or make any money. And so, yeah, after that 1 year, I was like, I cannot do this. I would rather live my life not successful with like no money painting, doing artwork, than spending the rest of my life in a career that I hate. I'm just that kind of person, I very much am a go big or go home kind of person. And so, yeah, the second year of college, I transferred out of my community college to Eastern New Mexico University, and I enrolled in their fine art program. And yeah, it was amazing. It was fun. I had a great time, and I really was, like I said, I was too busy with working a lot. So I wish, that's my one regret, or I guess my second regret is not spending enough time with like my fellow art majors and not spending more time honing the craft of art, I guess you can say. Yeah. But towards the end, I really started taking it seriously. I really started looking into the marketing of artwork, which actually my ENMU, they offered a class on marketing your artwork. And I actually took it 2 times because I really was like, I have to make this work. Like, I have no choice. I'm already too far in. I've already paid the school a lot of money. Like, I have no choice but to be an artist,
Thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you. And so, yeah, I was working 2 jobs. I was busting it out. I was on Instagram. And so, yeah, I was just trying to like plug in every avenue to get my artwork out there. And my main one was Instagram. I was like, I'm going to grow this Instagram and people hopefully are going to see my artwork, Yeah. And yeah, just one day I was like, I had always done YouTube, always, ever since I was like 16 or something like that. I've always done little stupid videos, like, hey guys, But yeah, and I was like trying to grow my Instagram, and I was trying to like spread, I guess, like my tutorials and things like that. Because I did little tutorials on Instagram whenever I first started off, because that was something that was pretty new to the platform at the time, was like doing little, art tutorials on Instagram. And so I was like, you know what, I have a laptop, I have a computer, I'll do my first YouTube video. And maybe my goal was 500 people. I was like, maybe 500 people will see this video, and maybe 10 of them will come to my Instagram, and maybe I'll get 300 followers on Instagram, I'm going to work hard, kind of thing. And so, yeah, I uploaded my very first art YouTube tutorial, the do's and don'ts of drawing eyes. This was, I want to say 2016. Yeah, 2016. Yeah. And yeah, my college dorm, I rigged up to, I unscrewed this broom, because you know broomsticks, they have like the things that I got 2 of those. I taped it to a chair. This little IKEA broken little table thing, I like put it underneath it, and I rigged up with my camera, my laptop, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I recorded this 8-minute video. It's looking back now, the quality, oh my god. And I uploaded it. And lo and behold, a few months later, it ended up getting over 1 million views.
Wow, that's amazing.
And yeah, from there, I just started working, and eventually it became my full-time job, so.
That is so cool. You've done so well for yourself. You must
Thanks, so have you.
Thank you. You must take a step back sometimes and think, wow, I really wanted 500 followers, and here I am, 1.5 million now, you know? That's just amazing. Good for you.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, it's good. Same for you. Good. Like, it's crazy. Like, that people. I feel honored, honestly, that anybody watches my videos. Let alone, 1 million people have liked me enough to click the subscribe button.
Oh well, I love your videos. You know that I've loved them ever since. Well, I think I knew of you before you messaged me, but I just obviously when I became friends with you, I was just like so invested in your content, and I just love every time I get a notification. I'm just like, gotta watch the video.
Same. Like, whenever I remember the first video I saw of yours, it was your art hack video where you're wearing the beret and you're like doing that little pose in the thumbnail. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I think it was your very first art hack video. And yeah, I was like, who's this girl? I'm gonna, so yeah, it all worked out.
I really hope that you're enjoying this episode so far. I wanted to let you know that this episode is being kindly brought to you by a small business called Bloom. Now, Bloom make these gorgeous handcrafted, hand-poured soy candles, wax melts, and reed diffusers. I just received a package from them the other day, and I can honestly say their candles are heavenly. They are far healthier for you than traditional candles because they use industry-clean fragrance oils, so no carcinogens or toxins that you will find from other brands. They're also incredibly eco-friendly. Starting on the 1st of January 2021, they will be planting a tree for every candle that they sell. These candles are also insanely cute and they look amazing and very aesthetically pleasing. So if you would like to check out their huge array of products, including their new holiday scents, which they're just releasing now, you can get free shipping with over $75 with the coupon code PAINTWATER1. And you can get a free wax melter with the coupon code PAINTWATER2, and both coupons can be combined. So check out Bloom Candles at bloom-candles.com/spillingthepaintwater, and thank you so much to Bloom for sponsoring this episode today. Earlier on, you were telling me that, and I'm trying to get the text up, you said you studied fine art and how to become a gallery artist. You studied to become a more traditional artist where you promote to galleries, art history, get yourself published, etc. As opposed to learning a lot of the techniques.
So basically, with my school, it was, I have a bachelor's of fine art, bachelor's of art with an emphasis of visual arts.
Right.
So a BFA with okay. And so anyway, basically what the school was really trying to get you to was more or less a traditional form of being an artist. So selling your paintings, making your own artwork. I mean, not your own artwork. I mean, of course, making your own artwork, but making your own canvases and how to market yourself. And remember earlier how I had mentioned that I took 2 of the same art marketing classes? Yeah, they really, my school, their curriculum really focused on how to promote yourself to be a gallery-based artist.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely say that, so I was taught to be more or less like in that world. Like that's what my school was prepping me for, was that gallery-based world. But I knew from a while that, I don't know, I just felt like it was too competitive. I was kind of like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be a gallery artist right off the bat. That I don't know if it's going to be that good paying. There's going to be so many people. Like, what is my edge? What is something that I can do easily? And so, yeah, that was another reason why I started doing social media before I graduated, is because I knew in my heart that I wasn't going to take it in a gallery direction, which they were teaching me. I knew that I was going to take it or try to, at the time, take it in a social media direction, which was, 2016. It wasn't fairly new, but I mean, our job, YouTube, that's fairly new. In my school, I don't even know if I don't think they even touched on social media at all. We focused on like building websites and how to get yourself published, your artwork and, things like that. And so, but what I did learn a lot of was the marketing techniques for being a gallery artist, how to convert that into social media marketing. And I learned a lot of good things like how to like build your own website and how to use Photoshop for the first time because I had never used it before. How to use other Adobe programs and things like that, and how to talk in front of an audience, and how to do things like that regarding marketing yourself towards artwork. So yeah, even though I didn't technically do what the school was trying to prep me for, I took that and used it to my advantage.
That's amazing.
Oh, sorry not to interrupt, but the last thing I gotta say is that, so yeah, even though you can do art without a degree, I highly recommend, going to art school, or school for art. It really helped me a lot.
Yeah, well, that's actually awesome to hear, because I didn't go to art school, and I feel in some ways I wish I had. In regards to, I feel there's a lot more that I would know about, because I went to something so totally different to what I ended up going into, that I think I was initially wanting to go into something like graphic design, but I knew that where I was looking at going, the programs were so expensive. I think it was like 60 grand. And I know for some people that's not nothing compared to what, I know someone that's going to school, it's like 200 grand for him.
Golly.
Yeah, but I mean, he's going to like medical school, so I get it. But 200 grand for that, so 60 grand's nothing in comparison. That's so much money. And I was like looking at the jobs in the area that I lived at the time, and I was like, there really is not much. There's so much competition, and I don't know. So I went to something totally different. I hated it. It wasn't creative whatsoever. But I still kind of wish, to an extent, I had gone to at least graphic design school. Just studied graphic design, because I think maybe thumbnail wise that would have benefited me a little bit. But yeah, I think it's good what you went through, what I went through, because I think, at the end of the day, it all kind of molds you into where you are. Had I not studied what I studied, the timeline would have probably been different if I had gone into something creative. And the only reason I was doing YouTube in the first place was because I was so lacking in creativity, because I hated so much what I was doing. It was all like analytical thinking versus creative thinking. That I craved it, and then I got that through YouTube, and that's where I, got that from. Whereas for you studied, art related stuff, but you did a 360 instead of going towards the traditional route. You went to the social media route, which I think is really awesome, because you were looking for something different. I think that's really, really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing to consider is that, I live in New Mexico. It's a pretty vastly empty, not creative, big area. I mean, some parts, like Santa Fe, is a very creative area, but in general, there's not a huge art community in the area that I live. And so, yeah, that was another thing that led me to social media, was just trying to find people who are like me, who didn't do just like, I guess, a traditional artwork, but like more or less like a newer, like not just like old school gallery kind of work, but like a new fresh take on things, and somebody my age, and things like that. So that's another reason why I was like, what, I'm gonna try to meet people online, meet people more like myself, rather than try to fit into the current community of gallery artists, because I want to try something else, something more me.
Do you when you were in art school, a lot of the stuff that you're so good at, you obviously spent so many hours outside of art school learning what you know. Do you think that it's important for people to, because obviously, again, I didn't go to art school, so I'm curious, because I can only compare it to me, computer science. To get any good at programming, you really have to do so much outside of school, so many hours and hours and hours and hours. And obviously art's, very much the same. But do you feel that you learnt more techniques and more stuff during your own time outside of school versus what you learnt in school?
I would say that there's pros and cons to both. During art school, or when you're in like school working with other artists, it's kind of magical in the sense that you're working off other people's ideas. Like, we would all sit around and talk about like our concepts in the paintings that we were going to create. And it was so nice. I think about it all the time with my YouTube. Like, I wish that I had this like community of people that I could just like sit and talk about the concepts of art, and they could tell me, yes, it is a good idea, or I think this would look better, or, I miss that critique so much of not like, well, I guess with the completed piece, but like the before, like whenever you're getting the idea to make the conceptual artwork, I miss that so much. So yeah, that in that sense, I really do miss it. But it was really nice because on my own time, obviously with like assignments and things like that, they had a very specific thing of what they wanted you to create. Like different styles and things like that. And so on my own time, I could create literally whatever I wanted, however I wanted, whatever size I wanted. And so, yeah, it was nice to be able to develop my own, I guess, individual style outside of doing homework. So I guess it's like a give or take. Like it's good and bad in some ways.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That was a really good answer, actually. I'm curious, actually, how your work has changed since, say, being in school versus now doing it for YouTube. Do you kind of, subject-wise, material-wise, do you think YouTube has molded your art to be totally different to what it used to be?
1 billion%. Now, earlier when I had mentioned the before and after critique, honestly, I am so beyond lucky to have an audience who tells me what they do like or what they don't like. And from that, I can process the information of, is this a good critique, or, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I'm really lucky in the sense that literally millions of people are seeing my artwork, voicing their opinion, and saying, well, this could be better, or this, I like this, and, or you could have applied this, like color theory or whatever. But yeah, because I have so much critique coming at me, both good, bad, hurtful, nice, you know, it's nice to be able to get so many different opinions on my artwork and how I can improve it. So 100% I can say that YouTube, being on the internet in general, has helped me so incredibly much progress my artwork forward. Whenever I first started YouTube, whenever I first graduated college, I was stuck very much on like very basic realism. I was scared to step out of my comfort zone. I was scared of trying new things. And so, yeah, it was nice. It's been nice to be able to try out bunches of different types of art supplies, you know, try out something like gouache. I would have never tried out gouache if it wasn't for a video. So yeah, now I'm not afraid to step out of my comfort zone. I'm not afraid to make something that's not realistic, something that's, I'm not afraid to make something like quote unquote bad. I'm not afraid to try new things. I'm not afraid to try new art supplies. I'm not, yeah, it's just been incredible. Do you feel that it's changed yours as well?
Yes, absolutely. So my artwork has definitely changed because I always did digital art. I started really getting into it, art in general, from digital art. I used to play a game. It was called Small Worlds, and I used to just paint on the canvases. They had like 1,000 strokes, so a lot of the time I used my little laptop touchpad. I couldn't lift my finger up very often because, you know, you were limited, and then I'd like sell it for the gold in the game. But I really enjoyed it, and I would see like amazing artists on there that were obviously professional artists, and I was like, I want to be as like much better. I'm not going to be as good as them, but I want to be, you know, nearly as good as them, you know. And it kept pushing me to get better. And then I started YouTube, and I started off with hair tutorials, and I started making silly kind of video skits about being a nerd and liking Doctor Who and stuff. And then obviously it was just, you know, it was only so far I could go with that type of stuff. So
yeah,
I then got into art because I was inspired by the likes of Jamie Jo, and I was like, I did a couple of digital probably about 4 digital paintings on my channel, and I noticed that in the art community, no one really, those types of videos didn't perform that well. They weren't very popular at the time, just speed paints of a screen, you know, with just music. That kind of was starting to phase out. And I was enjoying it, and people, you know, were seeing the content, but I thought, you know, I got to do something a bit better. I've got to inject myself into this somehow.
Yeah, definitely.
So I kind of taught myself to use acrylic paints, and I taught myself to do traditional artwork whilst making my videos. So basically people, if they go right back to the start of my channel, will basically see my progression of me teaching myself traditional art, because all I had experience in was digital painting, and my acrylic painting was so bad. Like, wow. I don't think I ever really showed that on YouTube, because before starting YouTube, did like one acrylic painting, and it was honestly like a 5-year-old had done it. It was so bad that I just never tried it again until I started YouTube, and probably, was it 2016 I maybe started acrylic painting again. So For me, it's only been about 4 years I've been traditional, as a traditional artist, versus like, about more than 10 years, I think now, since I started the digital painting. And I always said that digital painting was my overall 100% favorite medium to use. But the issue was I couldn't keep doing that. And I went into acrylic painting, and now I definitely feel that acrylic painting is probably my favorite medium to use. I used oils once. You're like the queen of oil painting.
You're the queen of acrylic.
I don't know about that, but thank you. But yeah, I did one painting with oils, and I'm just like so put off now because it just like I overblended. It just, everything smeared into each other. It was just like a blob. And I'm sure that's something a lot of people do when they start acrylic painting, but I'm just like, puts me off.
Yeah, oil paint is definitely a learning curve because there's so much to it. You have to work on like thinning just the thinning alone and knowing how much to do it, and like there's a lot of timing to it, and it is a learning curve. I will definitely say that. But as much as you struggle with oil paint, I struggle with acrylic paint. I cannot do it. It just dries like quickly, and it just drives me nuts.
Yeah, that's one thing. I love to try my best to blend with acrylics. Sometimes I'm just like, if I was using oils right now, I think this would be so much easier for me. But yeah, I really want to try it again one day. If I do, I'm definitely going to reach out to you. But I remember like going back years now, one of your videos, you opened an art box, and I think they had like, I forget what it was. It was like loose in there, and it was clear, and you were like upset and saying, this is flammable, it shouldn't be loose in here. And I forget what it was called, but I had no idea what it was. Because I genuinely was learning so much about traditional that I didn't even know what it was. Like a basic art supply that I didn't even know what it was until obviously I did oil painting. But I don't know.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Basically, it was an art box that I opened up, and the glue that had surrounded the paint thinner, which is flammable, it's paint thinner, has a lot of fumes to it. It had eaten up the glue that surrounded the little protective glass casing, and so it was like starting to leak everywhere. And like it was starting to eat through the paper too, so like the ink had the printed words that said like peel before opening, that had started to rub off. And yeah, I remember exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much that even now I'm still learning. Like I think you said something about foreshortening the other day, or something with the hands you were doing, and I'm still at the point where, because I've just had to like learn things and I'm still learning so much, I'm like, what's that mean? I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that means. And when I see a new word, I learn so much from you, like phrases and terms that you use. I learn a lot because I don't understand what they mean, and then either you explain it or you show it, or I then Google it and I'm like, oh, okay, I know that now. But
yeah, definitely. I try to put a lot of art history and more of like, because like I said, I did learn a lot about like the fine arts. And so yeah, I try to apply in that as well as art history. So yeah, I try to apply a lot of that into my videos to give people a little bit more of like a little lesson and things. So I appreciate that you said that.
No, absolutely. I love especially lately. I mean, you've always done it to a degree, but lately you always go into kind of the history of certain things, and you make it kind of like, oh, it's a bit of a mystery of things that I didn't know about. It just makes it a bit more exciting to be like, oh, I'm learning something new. I think that's a really like nice angle to put it at, because I tried the more teaching or like showing thing way for a while, but I kind of went away from that, whereas I feel you come at it from a different perspective, where you teach things or you talk about how things work or why things won't work. And I think that definitely shows in your like, your art background and the things that you learn. It portrays a lot in your videos, which I like a lot.
Yeah, I love learning a lot. That sounds such a weird sentence to say. I love learning, a lot. Yeah. Right? I think, yeah. But yeah, I love learning. I love watching educational videos. I love to, I guess, like get value from whenever I watch a YouTube video. So I like to do that with my artwork. I like to, or not just my artwork, but with my videos, I meant. I like to do that with my videos. I like to try to explain things as thoroughly, almost as if you're talking to a toddler. That way I can make it as clear as possible for people who might not have ever heard, because I know I'm like that whenever whenever I'm trying to learn something. I like it to be explained as clearly as possible, So yeah, I really appreciate that you said that.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, I know myself that I do, but you must as well have a lot of people that are not going into art school but want to be artists and look at YouTubers and art YouTubers to learn the information that they wouldn't be getting because they're not going to art school, or because they're curious if they want to go to art school, they want to see, have a head start on things. And I think that's really nice as well that people are getting taught so much before,
Yeah, definitely. And I like to share things that I am generally just interested in, like my last video, I had did a video where I had made these like fashion anime TikTok pants kind of thing. And it's basically just a video drenched of like my personal favorite things. And yeah, I like to put that with my videos. Things that I'm personally interested in, art history, cheap art hacks, making do with what you have. I like to share that knowledge with other people. And I think a lot of people are interested in, they're on my channel to see me essentially, and I think what gets me excited, that will spread on to other people. I think they will also be excited about art history and TikTok and anime, like things that I like.
Oh yeah, I love that video, by the way. That was so fun.
Yeah, I've been really trying to amp up my production quality as of lately.
It really shows. I love the whole the setup you've got going on. Is your room tour video or process video going to be going up soon?
So it's, oh my gosh, so I had everything designed in my head. I had sketched it out on the iPad, and I have been documenting everything, and then I swear, the universe is just telling me not to make that video because the couch that I had ordered canceled, the backdrop for my main area canceled. It's just the wallpaper. It is. And I live in a rental, so I can't paint on anything. So I ordered this temporary wallpaper. It peels off. It ruins the wall, the paint on the wall. So I'm like, so what you're seeing right here, it was actually just a makeshift area. Right. But now it's kind of my main set because everything else is as I'm speaking to you right now, the LED lights that I have, as you can see, it's pink. It's peeling off the wall, and I'm staring at it. I swear the universe is telling me not to make that video.
That's so frustrating.
This little set that we have here, yeah, I definitely feel like it's more me. I definitely feel like it's more visually interesting. And to be quite honest with you, I was definitely outgrowing my old studio. I'm a very creative person. I have to be on the go all the time. And especially now with, quarantine, waking up doing the same thing over and over again in the same studio over and over again with the same camera equipment, just making the same kind of videos. I was getting bored of it, and I feel like my audience was starting to kind of pick up on that. And obviously whenever I'm not happy, it's the content is just going to be subpar. So yeah, now that I have a refresh on everything, it's basically jolted a lot of creativity back in me.
That's awesome. There is so much to be said for a space that is just you feel happy in. I always said that my bedroom is a sanctuary for me because it's exactly just, it's me. I'm happy, I'm calm when I'm in there. I had to do this space up because it at the end of the day, it was a walk-in closet, and I was struggling for space. I mean, I still struggle with space now, but hopefully next year or whenever this stuff's going to be over, and I can either rent a place or whatever, that'd be good. But there's so much to be said for when you do work from home, when you do film and you have huge lights and you have to make everything look nice, and you just have to be happy. You have to be always on top of your game. You can't just hello, you can't fake being happy because people know. There's so much to be said for a space that you are happy in, because sometimes it is difficult to, if something is going on in your life, and maybe it sounds petty to some people, but if something bad is going on in your life, it's hard to, make the kind of content that you seem happy in, or you seem, full of beans, seem super happy. So there's a lot to be said for, the space that you're in.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel that now you've also gone through a recent revamp of your studio? Are you feeling that same exciting jolt of creativity again?
I am, because I upgraded my lights, so I have these nice big panel lights now. So they're this thin, this big by this thin, versus the huge box lights that I had that I couldn't fit anywhere. I'd have to get up and I would like squeeze past everything. I'd walk in, I'd look at my clothes, and I was like, I don't really want to look at my clothes, and when I'm sat in here for so many hours filming and then editing. So I hid it with a curtain, and it's really nice, and that just feels like more my space, and mentally it feels just so much nicer. It's amazing what something like a space refresh can really do for your mentality. It's great.
Definitely. Yeah, especially since we're, at home probably for the rest of the year and probably early up until next year. I've really have been focusing a lot more on like the aesthetics of my life to make me more comfortable in my own home. Because like I said, I spent a lot of time traveling last year, and that was always like my version of getting refreshed is, I'm going to California, I'm going to Florida or wherever. But now that I'm home, just like time to make a change.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so because we kind of broached the topic of how, it can mentally affect you having a nice space, I'd love to talk to you a bit about how YouTube has affected you mentally over time, and how, it feels being a YouTuber and that kind of thing. How much time we got? About 3 hours, though.
Man. Yeah. I can definitely say... Sorry, continue.
No, just, like when you've gotten drained and, YouTube has been, at least last I saw, a lot of kids are like, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. And it's like the most amazingly cool job in the whole world. It really is, but it does come with its detriments as well. So I definitely love to broach on that with you too.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I can definitely say that YouTube has the highest highs as well as the lowest of the frickin' lows, kind of thing. Yeah, man, I don't even know where to begin with this question, because there have been times in the past, and I feel like this was directly related with my self-esteem and some other health issues that I was going through, where I would tell myself that I'm not good enough, that my content's not good enough. There's been times where I just physically can't get out of bed because I'm just like, I can be like my own best friend or my own worst enemy, And that has been a hard lesson to learn over this past year, where I put so much pressure on myself to like be better, or I lie to myself and say, no one's gonna like this, no one's gonna watch this video, this is the most boring video ever, like you don't deserve to be on the internet, kind of thing. And there has been times where I can't even begin to like say, like my anxiety would just beat me down into like a pulp of nothing, and over this past year, I've been doing actually a lot of work to myself to not just to accept whatever happens, It's been a hard journey to say that whatever content I put out, it's going to be the best. It doesn't have to... Wait, let me rephrase that. It's been a lot of work to... Let me see how I should say this. Over the past year, it's been a lot of work to say that this video doesn't have to be number one trending on YouTube. All that matters is that I'm doing my best and that I'm enjoying myself. And I'm lucky enough to have an audience that no matter what I put out, they will appreciate it. And I appreciate them, and just try my best. And, even if a video does flop, and I say that in quotations because we are truly beyond lucky to have what we have.
Without a doubt.
Even if it does, like I said, quote unquote flop, it's
below average is what you mean, because everyone has their averages,
Yeah, it's okay, because as long as I'm putting out something that I'm happy with, that I tried my best, I think the audience will appreciate that, and they'll appreciate that that's a difficult question to answer, because like I said, I've gone through so much, and I've gone through so much with YouTube and how to like concentrate that down into like one simple sentence. But it's been a lot of work on my self-esteem, taking the pressure off myself to be like perfect number one YouTuber. It takes a lot for me to admit this, but there's been times where I've compared myself to other people, not out of like jealousy, but out of the fear of missing out. Well, this person's, doing good. I hope that I can do good some days. This is going to be the beginning of the end, or is my camera quality good enough? And it's just been a lot of working with myself when it comes to YouTube. And I can truly say that since quarantine, I've spent a lot of time with myself, working with myself, and it's been a long road, but and I'm still working on it every single day. But this year has been incredible, especially specifically these past 2 months have been really incredible for like my self-esteem and taking the pressure off myself, revamping my content, and just being the Rae Dizzle that I and my audience wants me to be, just myself.
I know it's whenever we like are having a difficult time with anything, we always like text each other and like boost each other up again. And something I always really like that you've said to me is, there's no Chloe Rose art without Chloe. You've always got to like make sure you put, you've got to enjoy what you do, because it makes it so apparent when you don't. And it's very easy not to compare yourself to other people, like, just art in general. You kind of look at other artists and you kind of compare, their art's better than mine. What am I doing wrong? But you also have the YouTube side of things, like on top of that, like what am I doing wrong? And you do, at the end of the day, when you do get a certain amount of views or people saying they like stuff, then it does feel good. It's like, good, I'm doing good, I guess. But
and the fact that our job is social media, so we directly, it's so easy to just open up our phone and see everybody's best parts of their day or life or whatever, and compare it to our everyday work life, and it's so easy to just constantly refresh the phone, constantly check your numbers, constantly that was a huge thing that I was doing, is I was just constantly on my phone, constantly checking the analytics, specifically whenever quarantine started, because I was like, well, there's nothing to do, I'll just get on my phone. And I can say that this year, the reason I say it's been so monumental is because at the beginning of this year, maybe mid-quarantine, I really went through a really dark time, I guess, because I was just beating myself up. This was right before I did the whole entire studio makeover. And that was a huge thing of like not fixing, but like on the road to fixing my self-esteem and my creativity, was putting away the phone and not worrying about everything else, and not worrying about what this person's doing or how this looks or what a mean comment said, and just taking the pressure off and just relaxing and spending time taking care of myself mentally.
That's so important. Yeah, I definitely need to have a break from my phone for a bit, because it does get to a point where it's just that there is nothing else to do, and most of my life, work life and social life, is on social media. So it's always there, it's easy.
Have you ever, sorry not to interrupt, but have you ever done that thing wherever you close Twitter or whatever app and then you immediately open it up?
Repeatedly. For me, it's more like close Twitter, go to Instagram, close Instagram, go to Twitter, close Twitter, go to Instagram. Just back and forth between the two.
Yeah,
it just
and
drives,
the first thing you do when you wake up.
Hate it. Yeah, I hate it. I drive myself nuts. I don't enjoy it. I do not enjoy social media whatsoever. Obviously, I do for like meeting friends and like connecting with people. I enjoy that side of things.
Sharing your artwork,
yeah, appreciative of all those opportunities it brings me.
You don't like the effects of social media, is what you're trying to say.
Exactly, the effects that it has on you. I think everyone sees, effects on social media, but it's really hard to avoid it when your job relies on it,
I can't even imagine what, growing up. Well, growing up, we had MySpace, and it was the beginning of Facebook. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be in middle school and have all these social media, that sound old, but I bet it's tough on a person's self-esteem growing up, just like seeing these face-tuned models with, and comparing yourself to these millionaires, and I bet it must be so tough for the youth.
It must be, yeah. All those young'uns.
All them young'uns.
Yeah, it must be really tough. I can't imagine, because, we're adults, we're closer to 30.
It is hard on us,
now, and we're finding it hard. It's all just a learning curve, and we're very new to it. And I don't know, I think, like you said, it's very important you to take time out, and I want to do that this Christmas time. I was going to do it last Christmas and take a couple of weeks off, and then the only 2 weeks off I pretty much was going to take all of last year.
Sick.
I was ill all of December. All of December. I'm so mad.
That was crazy.
I'm so mad. Yeah, I can't believe it.
What I've been doing lately, and I feel like you're like me. You're like kind of an anxious person. You easily overthink things.
Oh, I overthink very much so, yeah.
It's so easy to just overthink, especially when you're by yourself and on your phone. But one thing that I've been doing is every single night for an hour, I've been taking a bath, lighting a candle, and every time I think about work, YouTube, freaking out about analytics or anything, I have to tell myself it is not an appropriate time to think about this stuff. You need to basically like meditate, I guess that's kind of a weird thing, but force myself to get out of that negative headspace, and it's been doing wonders, man. And then plus, like, another thing I've been doing to like help myself is like been dressing how I want and like being authentically me. it's been really nice.
So good. Yeah, I think that's really important. I know there's a book by Dale Carnegie or Carnegie. He says about any stresses or worries, you should put them in tight compartments. So you imagine you have compartments in your brain and you just stick those things in and close them away.
I like that.
That's benefited me a lot. If I think of something, I'm just like, no, I don't think about it. I'll just stick it in a little compartment in my brain and shut it for now. Yeah. But yeah, that's very important because it's tough because people are always like, well, make the content you want to make. You know, you ask for opinions. It's like, make the content you want to make. And we try, but sometimes we have to also appease what other people want to watch as well.
I wouldn't say
it's tough.
I would say like the algorithm.
That's the one. Not so much people, the algorithm. Yeah, and what people are going to see and click on. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to, like, whenever you get those, like I said earlier, the highs of YouTube and like all these millions of people a day are coming to your channel and like watching this one video, you know, it feels so good to like be able to, I guess, reach that many people and be like, I have a successful video, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And then you have one week that doesn't do very well and they say, oh, this is the worst video you've uploaded out of the last 10 uploads. And it's just like, oh, my channel's dying. Oh no, what am I going to do? So it's constantly that battle of, what do I need to upload? What's going to work? What's not going to work? What can I just put up that's going to just perform average? What's going to do this? What's going to do that? My mum always just says, you know, you got to make, and Jazza actually said this to me, make hay while the sun shines, because you never really know what's going to happen with anything in life, really. No career, except maybe if you're in like the medical world, is ever going to be really truly always there. You know, anyone can lose their job at any point. You know, it's happened to my dad before. It just, you know, might shut a division or something. So I think it's really hard to mentally be in the mindset of, right, I need to just appreciate what I've got now versus stressing out over it, and, you know, hope for the best for the future, be positive about it, but you know, it's not always gonna be great. You know, I had a video recently that was like number 10 of 10.
Oh, I know.
You know, it sucks, but like, you know, the views are lower than any of my other videos, but they're still great views, which I have to remember, they're still good views. It's just not, you know, average for what I expect. And then you expect a number, and when you don't get it, it's just like you mentally go through all this stuff that's so unimportant, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like we put so much of our personality and creativity, like we put so much of us into our individual videos. It is difficult to, it's a hard learning curve to not take it personally, you know, whenever the video is below
People hate
average.
me now.
Yeah, it's because it's so easy to just, think that, like, oh, my channel's going to end, everyone hates me, you know, it's so easy to, like, put that pressure on yourself. But that's another thing I've been doing this year is, like, it's okay, you know, sometimes that's just, like, the ups and downs of YouTube. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. Yep,
definitely. It's always nice to get that, you know, from somebody else as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Before I forget, we did promise talking about Churro Man. Let's at least talk about him, and then I'll get onto some questions.
Okay, yeah, let's tell okay, let's go ahead. You gonna start?
Yep. Okay, so me and Ray met for the first time last February or March for Playlist Live, and we just like got together like 2 days before everybody else did, and basically
oh god,
we did some sightseeing, and we went to, I think it was International Drive, where there's like a Madame Tussauds there, there's like the Orlando Eye, I forget what it's called. We were basically there, we were taking pictures and stuff,
having a good time.
Yeah, and then it was kind of like stormy day. It hadn't started raining yet, but it was very humid, and Ray was like, I feel like I've just stepped out of a shower.
Oh yeah,
like very oppressively warm, humid.
I'm not used to that. Maybe from the desert going to Orlando, Florida, where it's all swampy all the time. My hair was all frizzy. Yeah, it felt like I was in the shower. It was weird.
We were there. Pretty much just the only people there because of the weather was not overly great. We look over and there's like a cute little churro stand on the grass, and this, like, you know, this gentleman stood there with the churros, and we were like, oh, let's get some churros, Ray, come on, let's go and get some.
Can I tell this part of the story from this point forward? So, because I want to do it from my perspective. Now, anyway, so even though I'm Hispanic, I've never had a churro before in my life, and I didn't think we were gonna, I don't know, I just got hyped up about churros or churros, I guess it's pronounced.
Oh, it sounds so much cooler like that.
And so, because I know Disney World, where we were planning on going, was famous for their churros. or churros, whatever you want to say. And so I was like, oh man, I want to try one, because I couldn't wait till we went to Disney World. I was like, I want to try one now. So at this little shopping center, we went up to this little shack of this guy, and we ordered two, one for me, one for Chloe. And immediately this guy, it's either hair dye or blood that was like dripping from his like ear hairline area down his neck from, I don't know if it was sweat or what it was, but it was like literally looked like blood or hair dye. It was dripping down his like, just the one side. It was crazy.
And he didn't know.
He didn't know. And so he started making our food without gloves. And I had paid for it and everything, and I got a whiff of this man's scent, and I guess he was hot for whatever reason, because it wasn't a busy day at all. I don't know. I guess maybe just in that little, but the thing is it had windows, so I don't know why. I don't know. He was just sweating profusely, and he was not wearing gloves.
His nose, and it was like on the churro.
He what? Oh yeah.
Like dripping.
And so I'm not one for like, I have a hard time like tolerating body odor, and so it started raining at this point, and I stepped out. I was like gagging from the profusely sweating body odor of this man, and so I literally stepped out in the rain, just pouring rain, gagging, because I was like, I cannot handle this bleeding sweaty man right now. And so Chloe was just sitting there like, what's wrong, kind of thing. I'm like with my nose covering my hand covering my nose, like, you don't smell that, kind of thing. Did you smell it? Like,
I did, but like I was like, well, I've smelled worse, this is fine.
Oh, dude,
it was the dripping of I'm sure it was probably what it was either it was covering his grey hair or something. But maybe he had one of those like little sticks that you put on the grey hair. But it was like,
maybe
he was sweating and it was rainy. It was just like dripping down. And he had like a beard as well, and that was like red in his beard as well, and it was like dripping down his face. And
yeah, it was bad. His hair dye was dripping down. His sweat was coming out. His hands weren't washed. He handled our money and then immediately handled the food without gloves. It was a mess. And so anyway, he gave us, God, he smelled so bad. At one point he had came out when they were cooking, and he went around the little stand, and I got a full-on whiff of him while it was in the rain, and Chloe was like angling or waving for me to come back because it was raining, and I'm like, no way, kind of thing. And so we got the churros eventually. We went off to the side and just tossed them because I'm like, that was,
like, thanks.
No.
Threw them away.
Yeah. That was disgusting.
Oh, they were so bad. Yeah. No, we didn't even bother eating them.
What a weird story, though. Like a bleeding man that was cooking churros. It was...
Oh, it was so funny. And we have plenty more to tell another time. But, we've had like a haunted Victorian house we stayed at one point.
Oh, my gosh.
Flickering lights and a little creepy door. And then just lots of weird things happening to us that we just...
So much weird things. That lady at the Airbnb. Yeah, lots of weird stuff.
That was a lot. We're gonna have to talk about that at a different time, because that was a whole podcast in itself.
Yeah, we should do a bonus video where we just talk about like the weird stuff that happens to us.
We should. Oh, that was so funny. Okay, I'm gonna end this with a couple of questions. There was a couple audio ones, but one of them was from 11-year-old girl, so I don't really want to obviously air that on here. But I had one from Portix that you put in. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, I love him.
He's very sweet. I met him at Summer in the City last year, and
good kid.
He is good. And I was sat on a panel at the time, and I saw him in the front row, and I was like, I recognize him. Is he who I think he is? And then it was him. And then he came up to me and said, "Yellow submarine." And I was like, how did Ray know that he was gonna...
That's our code word for those who are listening. Our code word is yellow submarine. And I told that kid to tell Chloe at the actual panel, and he knew, and she knew, and yeah.
I have no idea how you did that, but that was really funny.
Cool kid.
Hi Ray, hi Chloe. It's Portix here. My question is, where do you both see yourselves in 10 years' time? Do you feel like you're still gonna make content on YouTube and Instagram, or do you feel like you want to achieve different things in life other than being content creators? All right, thank you. Bye.
Oh, thank you, Portix. Portix is a content creator. You should definitely go and follow him. Portix if you look him up on YouTube. He's big up and coming in my opinion. So yeah, go ahead. What do you think? Where do you think you'll be in 10 years? Do you think you'll still be doing this, or?
I don't know. That's my answer is I have no idea. I'm not one to plan profusely into the future, especially with our job. I'm just, as Jazza said, I'm just taking it a day at a time and just waiting, just riding it out while I can. Ideally, I would like to be stable and own a house and be slim thick, but but other than that, I guess with my family, happy. I don't really have an answer. I wish I had more of one. I mean, ideally, I would like to be doing YouTube and like other social media still, and of course, painting. Still focusing on the art, but I don't have an answer. Yeah. Besides that,
it's hard because like 10 years ago for me, I never in a million years would have expected this. I don't think anyone really truly ever expects to be where they are in 10 years. Ideally, I mean, if I could still be doing YouTube in 10 years, that would be fun. I think for me, I'm hoping that YouTube will also allow me to have other opportunities into things. I mean, already opportunities have really been wonderful from YouTube, but my dream ultimate goal is to one day be able to make licensed work for Disney. That's my ultimate goal. So I'd love to be able to do that, and perhaps somehow make more licensed artwork for different things like that, have it more in print, or I don't know, something like that.
Definitely.
I love doing YouTube. It's hard to know if it's ever going to be like a fully sustainable thing for an extended period of time, but social media in general and just being able to be involved in things and holding workshops or doing panels on things, I really enjoy that side of it. So hopefully something regarding what I do now will be in my future in 10 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, this is quite a good question. Is it better to paint more but not work so hard on it, or paint less but really take the time to work? So like, would you be better off spending a load of time on one piece or less time on multiple pieces, kind of thing?
I think it depends on what your goal is in general, because with artwork, there's a lot of muscle memory to it. Like, for example, in art school, whenever we were studying the human figure for figure class, we would spend literally 10-30 seconds on gesture drawings to just get the muscle memory of where a leg should be, where a body should be, head, the placements of everything. But at the same time, if you want to do like really detailed work and like build that discipline of getting really fine details, then you're going to want to spend a lot of time on a painting. So I think it just depends on what your goal is.
Definitely. Well, I don't know. For me, I've always just spent an extortionate amount of time on one specific thing versus doing that sort of sketchy thing. But I know that a lot of people do quick pieces as warm-up pieces, or to practice, like especially with anatomy and stuff, like you said. Everywhere I've ever read or seen, they say you should just do it quickly. Just do it quick sketches to just get that momentum going. So I think it, like you said, it just depends on the situation, depending on what you want to do. And I myself think that, just do what you feel comfortable with, I guess. Yeah. I agree. Just depends on what your goal is. Exactly. I'm going to end it here because we've been talking for over an hour now. So we have a really fun podcast. I'm excited for everyone to hear this. So obviously, thank you so much to you, Rae, for doing this with me. Everyone, make sure you go follow her if you don't already. You want to tell me your socials and stuff?
Yes, it's Super Rae Dizzle on YouTube. Everywhere else, it's Rae_Dizzle_ on TikTok, Instagram. And I thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me onto the podcast.
Oh, I appreciate you being on here too. It's been awesome talking to you, and I've missed you. A lot.
I know, same.
Maybe in like a year we can finally see each other again.
I know, right? Seriously. By then we won't know how to talk to each other.
I know, it's like awkward, like, I haven't seen you in so long. Okay, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much to everyone for listening and watching if you're on YouTube. And look forward to seeing you in the next podcast.